Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Devi and you are watching Just Devi Marie. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing an Instagram Q&A about love, about marriage, about relationships. So if you guys want to hear the responses to your questions, please stay tuned. Before we get into answering your Instagram questions, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to my channel, check out the previous video on my channel, and if you are watching, I want you to leave that emoji with the man and the woman with the heart in the middle to let me know that you're watching. Also remember to check out my other channel called Yardments and like the video. I hope you guys have been enjoying the content so far. If you're not following me on Instagram at Just Devi Marie, I want to remind you guys to follow me there. I love doing posts and asking you guys questions because I love interacting with you guys. You guys always crack me up or make me cry or make me feel for you. You guys always invoke some kind of emotion. So you guys should definitely follow me over there if you are not. So a couple days ago, I did ask on my Instagram, what do you guys want to know about love, about relationships, and about marriage? So now I did get some questions. I wasn't really planning to do a video on this, but based on the questions that I did get, I was like, no, I have to answer them question in a one video. So thank you guys for all those who actually sent me questions to answer. I appreciate it. Alright, so I won't be calling you guys names. So yeah, this will be anonymous. So the first question is, how do you handle conflict? And I know that this one right here is a big one already. Because let's be real, the thing that really ends relationships a lot of the time is conflict, or is not being able to deal with conflict in the most healthy way or in the right way. Now for me, as a general rule of thumb, I would say that it's best to deal with your issues head on. I would recommend not letting them fester. I honestly believe that it's best to not let things fester, because I feel like when they fester, it brings about a lot of other issues. And trust me, me not like awkwardness, like in my relationship, and I like the awkward things. That I personally feel like it's just best to kind of talk it out, talk about it, and move past it instead of dwelling on it. So yeah, I would definitely say talk about it, be upfront about it. Don't be the type of person that holds on to things and start moving funny. You know, like when I say, alright, what's going on, how you feel about this, I realize that you're moving different, what's up? And then you're just like, nothing, I'm fine. Like your partner can obviously tell that something is off, you know what I mean? If your partner is in tune with you, and if you have been together for a while and you guys learn each other, you know that something is off. So be vocal about it. To me personally, it is okay to be like, I'm having an issue with something, but I'm not ready to talk about it right now. Sometimes it is best to kind of delay the discussion for want of just getting your thoughts together and not wanting to necessarily say something out of anger or because you're very emotional or heated in the moment. So I do get that, but don't let it be prolonged. I also like to use as a rule of thumb not to go to bed angry. I think that is an excellent rule and an excellent thing to follow. Yes, I don't necessarily follow that in my relationship, in my marriage all the time, or with my friends all the time, but I think it's a good rule of thumb, because if you're anything like me, you really internalize and think about things a lot, and so therefore, like, I will go to bed thinking about that thing, thinking about that issue or that disagreement or whatever, and then I wake up in the morning and it's still on my mind. So if you want a good night's rest, I would say just try as best as possible not to let the sun go down on your anger, or if something is bothering you, don't go to sleep with it on your mind. Just try to sort it out as early as possible. The next question is the pressure of having children / parenting a real one for you? I would say I don't feel pressured to have a child, meaning when I say that, I mean like I don't feel like anybody can pressure me to have a child. I feel like when I'm ready to have a child, Actually, when we are ready to have a child, because it's not just about me, when we are ready to have a child, we will make that decision for ourselves. So I'm not necessarily the type of person, neither me nor my husband are the type of people who get offended when people ask, so when are you going to have baby? You know, this year we'll be married 3 years. And you know, maybe some people will be like, well, yeah, it's time for the baby now, like it's legit time for the baby, you guys have spent enough time together, yada yada blah blah. But I mean, I don't feel that way. I don't really feel like people are coming at me or at us in a negative kind of way when they say those things. I think that babies generally bring a lot of joy, bring a lot of excitement, bring a lot of happiness. And I feel like that's where most of the people who say those things to us, like that's where they're coming from. So I don't take offense to it. But no, I really do not feel pressure from anybody to have a child. I just feel like when we feel like we're in a position to be ready, we will try, we will whatever. And yeah, that's how I feel about that aspect of the question. I don't feel like anybody can really force me into that. Me is a very strong-willed kind of girl, so nobody can really force me to do nothing. The next part of that is the parenting part of it is parenting. Do I feel pressure? So my thing is definitely, I feel like maybe everybody at some point, if you are someone who wants to have children or if you already have children, would feel some sort of pressure. My biggest thing is that, you know, yes, you bring a child into the world, your child don't ask to be brought into the world, you make a decision, right? You choose to bring a child into the world, and I feel like you always are gonna want the best for your child. And also being a new parent, maybe a young parent, you know, you always want to ensure that what you're doing is the best for your child, and based on what you are showing them, based on what you are teaching them, they're going to grow up to be the best that they can be. They're going to grow up to be good people. In my case, I want my child to grow up fearing the Lord and living for him, living his or her life to please the Lord. And so you do get worried, because I mean, honestly, at some point I feel like yes, you can show your child certain values and you can teach them as much as you can, but to me, sometimes when they reach to a certain age, after that point they make their own choices, and a lot of times whatever you do and say will not necessarily change what they think. I feel like you can only do as best as you can with your child. You can of course seek the Lord if you are a Christian, or if you're a believer, you can seek the Lord as for instruction, for wisdom in how to deal with certain situations, because every child will be different. You know, you may have 2 children, for instance, and you grow them the same kind of way, and one turn out to go one direction and the other one grows up and turns out to be something totally different. And so you can only just do your best, but I do think about it, and I do think about the fact that I will have to parent in a world that is so heartless, and sometimes it's just really heavy. You know, you guys would know if you are living in this world and not living under a rock that, you know, the world is different, the world is changing, and there are a lot of hard things that children who grow up in this kind of world will have to face, and there is more to come. You know, so of course that, yeah, that's pressure, but at the end of the day, I feel like if God blesses me to have children, blesses us to have children or a child, you know, he's going to make a way for us. He is going to allow us to be able to do it. You know what I mean? As long as we lead on him, then we should be fine. But definitely, I would say definitely pressure, just to ensure that, you know, the child comes out to be the best that he or she can be. The next question is, what should happen during courting/dating? Okay, so that's a good question. That's a good question, and that's one that I would have gotten before. I would say the first thing that I would say is, you guys, once you know that, you know, this is somebody that you really want to date and you really want to court, I think you guys first of all should discuss like the terms of your dating or terms of your courting. And when I say that, I mean like certain things that are a no-go, certain things that you guys jointly will agree to do and will not agree to do. I know that courting and dating in a Christian kind of background and a worldly, or whatever they call secular kind of background, is different. Like, I would hear about people say they're dating, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're dating only one person. They can be dating different persons. So I feel like what would be done for each person would be different. It just depends on what your values are and what your morals are. You know, I don't feel like I can say, okay, you should do this, you should not do that. I can only speak for myself and what I did. What I did in my own dating situation was that I made sure that we were on the same page. We knew that we were dating with a purpose or with a goal in mind. So you have to make sure that you lay those things on the table. Once you are talking to somebody and you feel like this is gonna go in a certain direction, it's gonna get serious, it's somebody that you see yourself with forever, sharing your life with, make sure you guys have the same kind of goals when it comes down to your relationship. The second thing I would say is in terms of physicality, make sure you guys know what you're willing to do and not willing to do. You also should know yourself, meaning if it is that you know that being in certain situations will cause you to stumble or cause you to falter, just try your best to not put yourself in that kind of situation. And I know that sometimes that's easier said than done, because as a couple, you know, you want your alone time. You don't want every time that you're going out, people just up in your grill, and you know what I mean? Because I feel like that's important. It's important to have alone time, especially with somebody who you feel like is serious, but don't hold you think, don't go to that place. You can have alone time, you know, at a restaurant where people are or whatever, you know what I mean? So that's what I would say about courting and dating. I would say when it gets to a certain point too, I would introduce the person to my family. I feel like family sometimes can, it's good to let them know who you're dating. That's just how I feel about it. Just because they can get comfortable with the person, they can also pick up things maybe that you wouldn't have seen. And I'm not saying that every single thing that your family say about your spouse you should take as gospel, but you know, there are some things that they could point out that you in yourself, based on whatever infatuation or whatever you might not necessarily see. So it's good to you know, integrate your partner when you are comfortable with your family, with your spouse. I'm not talking about, oh, just meet you and yes, you're up on mother yard. No, you need to know within yourself what that kind of timeline looks like, because dating and courting for everybody is different. The next question is, how do you keep things pure in a godly relationship? First of all, it starts with you, as in the individual. You have to know what your values are. You have to know that this is what I don't want to do. For instance, I know there are Christians, because obviously this person asks from a Christian perspective. I know that there are Christians who choose not to kiss, not to hold hands, not to hug deeply when they are courting or when they are dating. You know, if that's not something that's necessarily an issue for you, or you don't find that that's something that you have to do, fine, okay. But you have to know within yourself, you have to have your head on your body to know, say, well, my goal is to X, my goal is to be with this person, and when it is that we get married, then we're going to engage in these kind of things. So it really does start with you, what your goals are, and your relationship with God too will determine that. God does speak to us as Christians, as individuals. He does speak to us. It's just for us to listen. So yeah, that depends on you and your relationship with him and what you feel okay doing. And now the other part of that is what you both feel comfortable doing. You know what I mean? As I was saying previously, and then answering the previous question, you have to know yourself. You have to know how you feel when you are around your partner. You have to know whether you can control yourself, whether you find things getting steamy, where you find that whenever you're around a person, it's like it's hard for you to control yourself, and try not to put yourselves in those kind of situations. That is very, very important. I know that sometimes if you want to do something, nothing under God's earth can stop you from doing it. And if it is that you know that nothing can stop you from doing it, do other things, people. Do other things, get distracted, and make sure you communicate that too. So if I say, well, you know, we're dating and boy, I have a problem, I just feel like every single time we're together, I feel like burning. You need to also share that, because if it is that you guys are on the same page in terms of what your parameters for courting or dating are, then one should pull up the other. You understand what I'm saying? So if you are having a burning desire today, he should be able to pull you up and say, bro, remember that we whatever, we agreed that we're not going to do certain things until next time. You know what I mean? Or if it is that he is feeling a certain kind of way another time when you guys are together, you know, you should be able to pull him up. I'm not going to say that is easy in no way, but my thing is, don't put yourself in certain situations where you know you're going to be prone to fall. So if you know you're going to be prone to be tempted and stuff like that, try to just keep away from those kind of situations. That's honestly the best advice I could give you. And also just stand firm. Stand firm, know who you are in Christ, know what your values are, and stand firm on them. If you have a value and you're dating somebody who doesn't have that same value, that's gonna be a problem. So you guys have to be on the same page in terms of values also. That definitely helps in keeping your relationship pure. It's all about like self-control and really standing firm in your values when it comes on to keeping yourself pure, if that is what you want. I know that's not everybody's desire, but if that is what you want to do, you have to keep yourself out of certain situations and you just have to hold true to your values. That's it, point blank, period. The next question is, what's it like sharing your space with someone almost all the time? Honestly, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. You guys have to remember that, well, let me not say you guys have to remember because you may not know. Me and my husband didn't live together before. When we got married is when we lived together, when we had sleepovers, when we did those kind of things. So honestly, it was wonderful. It was a good time. It was a different kind of experience. It's something that I was longing for, because I mean, at a certain point after you're dating somebody for a really long time, you know, you want to know what your life will be like with them. And honestly, we were not planning to live together before we were married. We weren't planning to go on sleepovers and do stuff like that before we were married. We didn't do anything like that before. So it was really exciting. You know, I love seeing how my husband does stuff like in the house and stuff like that. It's really interesting for me. When I say don't get on top of my nerves, people, but I honestly love it, and I know that sometimes that's not everybody's situation. And I too am sometimes the type of person where I like my alone time. So it's like I'm on two edges of the spectrum, right? So on one hand, I want my alone time, and if I want my alone time, I don't want you up in my green, I just want it by myself. But on the other hand, if I want attention, like I want a lot of attention and I want it right now. So like there's no middle ground. So that's where I stand in terms of that. But if you're the type of person who is big on like, yeah, I need my alone time, and maybe your partner is not big on that, that's a conversation honestly you really need to have. Whether it is that maybe you don't realize that until you're living with the person, but as soon as you realize that, that's a discussion that you need to have. And personally, I don't believe that anything is wrong with needing or wanting alone time, but I just feel like you guys have to understand each other, and it shouldn't come across in a way where like it's attitude and snappy, and you know, we should be understanding about how each other feels in terms of the alone time, which is why I say it's something that you should definitely discuss. And yes, you're married, and when you're married, the two become one, you are one, but remember that you're still individuals. You still have different interests, you still have different hobbies and stuff like that. So of course, like, not everything will necessarily overlap. For instance, my husband loves to be left alone when he's watching football. Ugh, can't deal with that. Anna, if you're watching, Anna knows my struggle when it comes on to that. But yeah, him just want to by himself. Anything me I tell him when he watch football, he do not hear, him can't hear that, right? So that's when he wants his alone time. So I leave him be, you know, to have his alone time, and that's quite fine. And when I'm doing something else, maybe I'm working on my YouTube channel, maybe I'm editing a video, I do not need to be disturbed, because you know, that's my time to do what I need to do. That's my hobby. You know, football is his hobby. So obviously there will be interests that we do not share, and that is perfectly fine. But you need to communicate that. Communicate when, you know, I just need a little bit of alone time. And I'm not saying that you should shut out your partner at all. That's not at all what I'm saying. But if you need a few little hours to just chill with your friends, or watch a little TV by yourself, or work on some kind of creative thing by yourself, then fine. It really should not be an issue. So yeah, but for me, honestly, I don't mind it. I like it. I like living together. I like doing life together, because honestly, I love him. I love my husband, and I feel like it is so easy to love him, and so I don't really have an issue when it comes on to that. But I do see why or where people can have that kind of situation. The next question is the secret on keeping the spark going. Now, I don't know. I don't have no secrets. I don't have no secrets. So if it's a secret, DM me one away and let me know. But what I would say is, one, never stop dating your partner. Never stop pursuing them. Never stop trying to show them acts of kindness. Never stop surprising them. Never put their feelings as second. Still do all of those things. Still learn about each other and grow together. Do adventures. Even when all the pin them come, still try to make time for each other. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I would say is learn their love language, right? So if you learn their love language, you know exactly what to do to keep the spark going. You understand? Because if you know that that person appreciates being loved in that kind of way, you can't miss. Like, it's literally a recipe for success. So that's what I would say to keep the spark going. Another thing I would say is talk. Gonna talk about things you wanna like. And when I say talk about things you wanna like, I mean inside of the bedroom, outside of the bedroom, underneath the bedroom, in the living room, whatever it is we wanna like for do, talk to each other about it. I can't tell you how much times I've heard things like men saying, oh, you know, this is what I really like to do, but oh, my woman, she should not do that or whatever. And when you ask them like, why does she not do that, or you know, how is it that this is what you like and your partner don't know, they're just like, well, you know, I feel like maybe she wouldn't like this or maybe he wouldn't like this. No, we don't need to talk about certain things together. I honestly feel like if you and somebody are married, that is the person that you should be doing the nastiest of nasty if you want to with. Like, why is it that you would marry somebody and that's not the person that you want to have all the fun, you know, practice to make all the babies with? That does not make no sense to me. So make sure you're communicating what you like, what you don't like, and all that. So communicate. How did you balance your relationship with other things? I'm guessing that means like maybe like work or like maybe other hobbies or friends or whatever. Honestly, it's really not hard to balance. I feel like boy, I don't know how to explain this, but it's really not hard to balance. We both don't really have huge friend circles like that. I never have an issue balancing it. Like, we know that we work when it's work time, we're off when it's off time, and when it's off time we're very serious about our off time. So one thing that I will say is really ensure that you unwind and you turn off. Don't be in a relationship carrying work until midnight every single day of life. Don't be in a relationship, you know, waking up early and the first thing you do is work. Don't be in a relationship going to your office Saturday, Sunday, holidays, Christmas, on your vacation. No, you have to create boundaries when it comes down to your relationship and other things. So create your boundaries. Make sure that when work is over, work is over. I'm not saying that there will not be times based on the kind of job that you have that you will have to do more or go outside of maybe the usual 9 to 5 or whatever your working time is, but it's not supposed to be a constant thing, and that's just on facts. So that's what I would say to that. I don't know if that helps you any at all. Just make time for what you need to, plan out what you need to. If it is that you're going somewhere and want to do something that does not involve your husband, like say you want to go out with your friends, make the person know, make the spouse know, because to me, if it is that me and my husband plan something and then my friends plan something, what I'm doing with my husband trumps what my friends are doing. That's just how I feel about that. My relationship comes first over, when I say relationship, I mean my marriage, because I do have a relationship with friends too. But what I'm doing in my family and with my marriage trumps over what friends are doing. And I'm not saying that there will be certain situations where your friends have a need, but like what I'm doing here takes priority. Did you discuss or learn about the 5 love languages with your partner? We definitely did, and the way that we did this, first of all, actually, after dating somebody over a period of time, you do pick up on what their love languages is, but we did also take pre-marital counseling. We did counseling before we got married, and that was one of the things that were discussed and that were talked about and that was really explored in the counseling. So yes, and I would definitely recommend that you all do it. We did do the test. There's a test that you can just Google online and find it to see what your love languages are if you don't know what they are. And that's something that I feel like is really important to the success of your relationship, really knowing your love languages. So definitely, yes, we did know each other's love languages before we got married. How did you find time for yourself in your relationships? I kind of touched on that before, like, it's a discussion. I mean, you have to communicate. If it is that you need time or you're going somewhere with somebody or you're doing something outside of what you would normally do in your relationship or with your partner, you have to discuss it and you have to make them know. It's not a case where you just jump and a fly, as somebody say, Ray, just jump up and gone. You have to have a discussion and you have to communicate. When to, maybe you feel like you need your alone time, like you have to communicate those things. So that's what I would say. Just try to communicate and tell them when you need time for yourself or you need time with your friends. To me, if you marry somebody who is very reasonable, that should not be a problem. And I'm not saying that every single night you must be out with your friends. No bro, no sis. So balance and make sure you're communicating your needs and your wants to your partner, for sure. Why don't I meet decent men? Honestly, I can't answer that good. I cannot answer that, babes. I don't know what kind of answer that. If only can help that person answer that question there about why she can't find decent man, please leave some comments down below. If it is that you have people that are decent, men that are decent, please leave their Instagram handles in the comments down below, so you know you can help the sisters out. I'm sure there are other people saying that too, you know, who probably don't want to ask that question, but they must say, nah, ask it, no embarrass. Ain't no shame. Ain't no shame. But one thing I think probably that can help with meeting new people, because I feel like that's what this person is really saying, meeting new people, because is going and doing different things. So deter from what you normally do. So if it is a case where you're always at TGI Fridays, go to another restaurant, go to another event or something like that to meet a new different crowd of people. Sometimes we kind of just stick only in one set of circle. Visit other churches, do those kind of things. That's how you meet people. If you're like in the Christian circle and stuff like that, go to camps, go to, you know, Christian events and stuff like that. That's how you meet people, honestly. So maybe if you're not maybe finding anybody in your little small circle, or based on the people that you roll with, you need to start looking outside. You start doing other things, going to different places. Don't circle the same 5 spots all the time and feel like, oh, I can't find nobody. Friend, sis, bro, go outside of those 5 spots that you always go to. You know what I mean? Try to go to those little events, maybe even things that you maybe not normally going to. You know, just try to do something different, and I'm sure that you will meet somebody different, and hopefully you'll meet somebody decent who maybe you want to make your husband or your wife. What advice do you have for someone who is afraid to get married? If you're afraid to get married, don't get married. I do not feel like you should go into marriage being afraid. But what I would say is, in order to prepare yourself for marriage, find out what is it that is causing you to be fearful of it and try to work on that. If it is a case where you're afraid of cheating, because I feel like that's what a lot of people are afraid of in terms of marriage. As soon as a marriage fails, or you hear about some social media thing, like you're just like, yeah man, the man him cheat on she, the man cheat on she, or the girl cheat on him, or whatever. You know, if it is a case where it's cheating, I mean, I feel like seeing those kind of things on social media and out in the World Wide Web, on the internet or whatever, it can make you feel like all men cheat or all women cheat or marriages never work. But trust me, see, when you start off the marriage in a good foundation, or you start off the dating in a good foundation, and you guys are on the same page in terms of values, I'm not saying it will never happen, because to me, you can start off your relationship in a good foundation, but when you get married or whatever, you start slack off, you not date each other no more, you not really business, but what the other likes, you not communicate, then you're setting up yourself for disaster right there. What I would say is, once you see that something is different or there's a change, you try and work on it. That is if you're married already, right? This is just me saying sometimes why a lot of cheating maybe happens or a lot of separation happens is because people just don't know how to resolve conflict. You guys as a couple need to make sure that you know how to resolve conflict before you actually get married. That's something that's very important, which is why I always tell people marriage is not something that is to be rushed at all. Do not rush marriage. 1, do not rush marriage. 2, do not rush trying to have children. Don't rush those kind of things. You know what I mean? Because those are serious commitments. Those are commitments that hold a lot of weight. You know what I mean? So I would say, if you are afraid to get married, do not get married, but instead try to work on the issues that you're having, because there must be something that's causing you to feel fearful about marriage. So work on that. You can see a therapist if you're a Christian maybe, and you feel comfortable talking to a pastor or talking to someone else who maybe is married or something like that, to do that. But don't make that fear, or maybe what you see out there, what people care to share, make you feel like you shouldn't get married, or you should be afraid of marriage. Things do happen in your marriage, and I'm not going to tell you that marriage is smooth sailing and it's Rice Krispies and chocolates and candies and roses. It's not. Just as how you go to school and you have to work on school, you have to work to get that A, you have to work on your marriage. It's not always going to be hunky-dory and happy. You're going to have times when you're sad, you're going to have times when you're miserable and you're annoyed. But as long as you guys work on it and both of you are on the same page when it comes to doing life together and resolving conflict, you will be fine. You will be okay. So there's no need to fear. Just work on what is causing you that anxiety or maybe that blockage towards marriage, because I feel like sometimes you can be afraid of marriage but you still know that you would want to get married. So just work on it. I want to thank you for watching another episode of Just Devi Marie. I want to remind you guys to subscribe. If you reach this far, you must subscribe by now. Remember to give the video a like. Leave that heart in the middle of the two man and woman in the comments to let me know that you are watching. Check out the previous videos on my channel and my other channel called Yadmens. I will see you guys in my next video.